Hello, my name's Max Davey, and along with my friend Paddy Harris, I run the Games for Families YouTube channel, Facebook page and Twitter account. The question I wanted to address was why? Why should we spend our time and our energies putting out stupid videos about games for families? And I wanted to address this with 5 different questions.
Why are games good for children?
So the idea of this video is not to say that children should play games because they are good for them. There is a market for educational games which are marketed to be beneficial for various different skills. The problem with these games is they're usually really boring and not very good to play. What we really want to talk about are games that are fun and along the way might have some benefits to the children. So I just want to talk quickly about the developmental benefits that games can produce. I'm by trade a developmental paediatrician, so during my day job I see lots and lots of children with developmental problems. Particularly I concentrate on the primary school age group, which is also where board games start to become really much more of a big thing. And I'm really struck by how many of the problems that I see in clinic are also the sorts of things that board games can really develop. Let me give you a few examples. So King of Tokyo we've already covered on the site, it's one of my favourites. It's very, very good. Partly at managing frustration. You might get killed, you might have to drop out of the game, but also planning. You need to think about, okay, what are my options, what should I do here? And finally about attention. Now a lot of kids I find have not very good attention spans, and actually this is a really good one because of the kind of how engaging it is at engaging attention and actually sort of going from where the child is in terms of their attention span to maybe stretching it out a little bit with adult support. So I think that one's a good example. Something like Coup, which is a game of social deduction, is more about reading other people. Are they bluffing? Are they trying to deceive you? Are they trying to kind of manipulate you? So that is in a very controlled environment can be a good way of getting children who perhaps find that difficult, perhaps find that kind of reading challenging, to do it in an environment where there's no one's going to laugh at them, no one's going to point at them, and it's all very friendly and low stakes. Codenames is an interesting and very good game, which is based on teamwork and in a different way reading other people and how they're thinking and what ways they're going down. As well as being on the surface a word game, it's actually more about sort of theory of mind in a way, that kind of idea that we project and read other people's minds in a way that actually, if you think about it, is quite remarkable. Now all of these games are in some way competitive, but there are cooperative games, and these are particularly good for teamwork. Maybe children who find it difficult to cooperate with other people can find this sort of game very useful. Samurai Spirit is a favourite, partly because it's quite a compact, small little game, very inexpensive, and you are samurais defending a village. How cool is that? Not the simplest of games, and there are other options, but one that's really, really good for engaging people who perhaps find that kind of thing difficult. So board games are a space. It's not that the board game is teaching you something, it's providing a space in which you can interact with other people in a safe environment and develop various skills. So I think they're very good in that way. The other way I think they're very good is in children's mental health. Now let me explain. Part of my role, I do some policy work with mental health, and one of the things that struck me is that one of the main determinants of children's emotional health generally, as well as the absence of bullying, good peer relationships, is time spent in the family doing activities together. And we all know that can be difficult, but it really does benefit children to have the attention of the whole family together, to have a feeling that you're a unit. Sat down for meals is good for that. Going on anything is good for that. But this is really good because it spans the generations very nicely. It's inexpensive, really, in the long run. It's cheaper to buy any of these games than it is to take more than 2 people to the cinema. And of course, you get all the benefits that I've been talking about. So I think both for their developmental skills and for their emotional health, I think it's a very positive thing.
Why are games good for families?
I've kind of already addressed and suggested the benefits for family, but just to spell it out, it isn't an area where I'm an expert. I'm a developmental person, not a social scientist, but it does seem to me that games sat down with a family is a benefit to my family and to lots of other families that I know. Modern life is very busy. We are always doing things, and it can be very easy, particularly even in a whole weekend, to never actually be sitting down at the same place at the same time. You've got this activity, somebody wants to finish their game on the computer, somebody else has gone shopping. All of these things happen as a family. So making time to sit down to the same activity at the same time is really important. And actually another thing about board and card games is that they do bridge the different ages, and you can enjoy them on many levels. King of Tokyo, to take one example, is a game that I've played with adults and 5-year-olds and equally enjoyed. So a really good game can do that, and it doesn't have to be one of the more modern games. I just think they're better, and part of the channel is to convince you of that.
So what games should kids play?
So I'm not prescribing, I am a doctor, but I'm not prescribing a particular game for a particular situation. I've actually kind of tried that and it doesn't work. You have to find out for yourself what you enjoy. And so the simple principle is that a child should play a game that they enjoy. Now with younger kids, I'm not really particularly, so I'm talking about preschool. Yes, of course, introduce them to this kind of game, and we will cover some things that are suitable. But younger kids have got a real natural, exuberant, infinite capacity for play, and so in a way you just need to let them go for it. Join in if you can, and bring them into something a bit more organised towards the end of the preschool period. But in primary school and up into secondary school, I think it's really important to keep that play going. And I think it's also really important as adults. A lot of adults do play, but they dress it up as gambling or sport or anything, or some sort of competition. But actually, the nice thing about these games is that they are unashamedly play. And we're all doing it as play, and we don't have to get worried about it or stressed about it, because ultimately we know it's play and we know it doesn't matter, or at least most of the time we manage to work that out. Not all the time though.
What about playing video games?
So what about video games? Aren't they great? Can't they do the job of gaming? Can't they scratch that itch? Well, I've got nothing against video games, and I'm playing one at the moment. The problem with video games is that the level of interaction that you actually get with other people is generally fairly limited. You can interact online, of course, but if people aren't actually there, it's not much good. And actually playing a video game, you actually have to concentrate almost completely on the screen. Otherwise, just like that, you die. So video games really suck you in so much that you're interacting really with the pixels rather than the people who you're with. Now, people do make claims for the benefits of video games for various skills, such as spatial skills and cooperation, but really the evidence of this being beyond the screen is extremely limited. Oh dear, that was bad. So, the sort of video games that I do like, however, are the ones where you're all on the sofa together playing a couch co-op. But of course there, the real benefit is what's happening on the couch, not necessarily what's happening on the screen. Oh dear. Okay, well I better go because I'm about to really get completely overrun here. But the point is, the video games I don't think are a substitute for the sort of play that we really think is developmentally beneficial, and most of the benefits that can accrue of video games you can get with a tabletop game just as easily. See you in a bit.
What should we do about this?
Well, personally, I'm going to make videos about it. I'm going to engage with people. I'm going to talk to people about what a great thing it is to have this hobby and play games with my family, and also, the board games clubs that I've set up and the school events I run. So I'll be going on about it, I'm afraid, for the foreseeable future. If you're a parent, what should you do? Well, you should check out some of our videos. You should maybe go to a games cafe. At Oxford, we've got Thirsty Meeples, which I think is superb. There's Drafts in London, all sorts of them around the country. And if you're in the US, well, goodness me, your options are endless. And of course, in Canada, there's a great tradition of these as well. So go find out where your local games cafe. It's a really good place to start. Or you could just, buy a couple of games. They're not very expensive, and you can just have a go at it. And if you're a child watching this video, you should pester your parents until they will buy you the games that you want. And tell them I said so. Thank you very much.